Good morning, friends. Today we will be going with the part 3, I guess, because part 2 has been already done. Part 3, basically, we will be covering reforms in Indian agriculture. Now, reforms in Indian agriculture has three major reforms, that is technical reforms, institutional, or I can say land reforms, and general reforms. Now, when I talk about technical reforms, there are certain features, or I can say following measures have been taken by the government to upgrade the technology in the Indian agriculture. So similarly, going on with the first one, that is use of HYV seeds. Now since 1965, HYV seeds have been replaced by the conventional varieties. Now these seeds like wheat, rice, maize, jowar have led to substantial rise in crop productivity, and an increase in the substantial rise in the crop productivity, I can say, is known as green revolution. So proceeding towards the next, that is use of chemical fertilizers. Now chemical fertilizers are being increasingly used to enhance the productivity. Secondly, it has been considerably increased over a period of time. Third is use of pesticides for protection. So basically steps have been initiated to protect crops against the diseases, and pesticides have been used to protect the crops. So 14 central plant protection centers has been set up in this respect. Next, going for scientific farm management practices. Now stress has been laid on this cultivation as against conventional farming. Now this method of farming relates to basically selection of crops, preparation of soil, rotation of crops, selection of seeds, use of fertilizers. This is the preparation which they have made in order to, apart from using the basic management practices. So in this connection, intensive agricultural program plus integrated rural area program has been launched in order to speed up the process of growth. Total 23 universities are engaged in promoting the scientific cultivation. Next, going for mechanized means of cultivation. Now mechanized means of cultivation, I can say, is that these measures have been taken to spread the use of mechanized means of cultivation, like providing cheap credit facilities to the farmers by cooperative societies, providing agricultural machines. Why? To spread the use of mechanized means of cultivation. Even commercial banks, regional rural banks are included. In almost all states, agro industries have been set up for this purpose. Now proceeding towards institutional reforms, or I can say land reforms. This action plan of the government with regard to land reforms includes the following steps. First is abolition of intermediaries. Now abolition of intermediaries is between the state and the actual tillers of the soil, now which are popularly known as zamindars. This has been abolished. Ownership rights have been conferred to those who actually cultivate the soil. When I go for the second step, that is regulation of rent. In order to put an end to this excessive and illegal extortion from the cultivators, rent has been fixed. Third, consolidation of holdings. Basically, we have seen that they were fragmented and scattered holdings. So, in order to reduce those fragmentation, consolidation of holdings. That is, consolidation in the sense they would be working together in a one go, and I can say it will also save cost of cultivation. Here in regulation, they have already given that general there are not to exceed 1/3 of the value of the crop. Going with ceiling on land holdings. Now ceiling on land holdings is with a view to promote equality and the distribution of land ceiling. Now ceiling on holdings means it is the maximum size of cultivable land that an individual or a family can own. So it has been redistributed among small holders, or I can say landless laborers. Now going for the cooperative farming. Last is cooperative farming. Now cooperative farming is encouraged to enhance bargaining power of the smallholders. They can buy inputs at lower price and sell the product at a higher price. That is what cooperative farming. providing with other information, that is for general reforms. Now these reforms include the following steps. First is expansion of irrigation facilities. Now expansion of irrigation facilities is in order to raising productivity in agriculture. Irrigation facilities will be used. Different major and minor irrigation projects have been launched across different parts of the country. Going with provision of credit. Now cooperative credit societies have set up to provide credit to the farmers at low rate of interest. So there are certain facts you will be going through in your text as well. Next is regulated markets and cooperative marketing societies, I can say. Now this markets has the offer to remunerate the prices to the farmers and protect them against any exploitation by the middlemen. So these committees ensure timely payments to the farmers specific weights and measures which are used to value the farmer's product. Now cooperative marketing societies, I can say, is established to enhance bargaining power of the farmers in the market. The cooperative societies ensure that there is no glut of supplies in the market so that the cost price does not crash. So provision for storage of the crops is made by the societies on behalf of the member farmers. Next, going with price support policy. Now price support policies, under this policy they have minimum support price. Why? In order to protect the farmers against uncertainties of the market. Now proceeding with a very important terminology, that is green revolution. Now the term green refers to crop and revolution refers to spurt. So together I can say that it is spurt in crop production. Basically it has started, or I can say this has been happening in India in the year 67 to 68, where the crop production has been increased by 25% and India became self-sufficient in the production of food grains. Now there are two phases which I have explained in this manner. The first phase starts from mid 60s to 70s, where in this phase the scope of green revolution was restricted. Basically in what? In wheat and rice growing regions of the country. The states include Punjab, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh. In the second phase, that is mid 70s to mid 80s, it was the impact which became widespread, covering most of the areas of the countries and larger number of crops. So we have already seen the features like spurt in crop production, subsistence rise in acreage, shift from subsistence farming to commercial farming, change in farmers' outlook, self-sufficiency in food grains. Now going on with the limitations. Now I can say limitation. Why? Because the green revolution had given whatever the achievements, it had parallel consequences, or I can say the parallel limitations which have been of green revolution. Now going on with first, that is limited crop. Now in this limited crop, revolutionary rise in output were confined mainly to the production of few food grains like wheat and rice. Then there had been no similar rise in the production of pulses and commercial crops like jute, cotton, tea. When I talk about uneven distribution, or I can say uneven spread, I have already mentioned the states like Punjab, Haryana, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu had been a remarkable impact. But in eastern UP, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, its impact was relatively insignificant. Going on with the third, that is limited farming population. Now limited farming population is the bulk of the farming population in India consists of small and marginal farmers. The gains of green revolution has alluded to these farmers because HYV technology require expensive inputs which are beyond the reach of marginal farmers. Basically this had an impressive terms in overall rise in output, but actually the results of green revolution are found to be impressive, but it was not. In last, that is economic divide. We have already seen that in green revolution the economic divide, that is the gulf between the rich and the poor farmers, has substantially risen over times. Poverty is widespread and indebtedness is extremely high. Loan waivers are frequently offered, yet there are a number of suicides among farmers which are emerging due to these challenges. Now we have a question that does India need another green revolution? That is obvious because our productivity standards are extremely low as compared to the nation. Food grain stocks are at the point of uncertainty. The farmers continue to be exposed to uncertainties of the market. And last is the loan waivers are becoming a recurring compulsion. So that's it for today. If you have any doubt, to let me know. Thank you.